Um, defensively, defending without fouling. 10 free throws in that quarter to our 0. And I think that's been an issue recently, especially the last 2 games. We've been getting killed from the free throw line. It's just we've got to stay aggressive, play in attack mode, get downhill. But we also have to defend without fouling. Um, we're getting outscored right now in the last 2 games by 30 points from the free throw line, which is a huge margin. And that's somewhat we can control, but we just have to be mindful of it and then kind of clean that area up.
How does your team deal with dealing with its frustrations over the
At times, I think it is a distraction. You can say your piece and move on. No one's going to be happy when you feel like you're getting the short end of it, but it's not going to change anything. I think it's one of those areas where control the controllables and let's not get distracted and let it now compound and bleed over into the next possession. We've seen that at times, and we get sideways. We have to be able to control and play with more poise.
He's played 20 games now, but what are your overall impressions so far?
His level of confidence, I think, is gone up. He's obviously shooting the 3 well. We talked about last night or the other night of he's got to look to get more threes up. Now the right types of threes, and the ball finds him, he's got to space correctly, but he's shooting it with confidence. I think his teammates are looking to find him. He's playing downhill, playing aggressive, and defensively he's been solid. Some of the coverage confusion I think is still him kind of figuring things out, understanding terminology, but the one-on-one has been for the most part pretty good.
Areas of improvement for us are more on defense.
Yeah, it's the off-ball defense, but then also after the switch, you get back into certain coverage situations. Some of that's new to him, where I think he's just got to pick up his body position, the details of those situations, I think. Clean those things up, get better with his level of communication. But that just takes time and reps. But overall, I think he's progressing in the right direction. The only thing is his spatial discipline and just making sure he's quick with his decisions. Catch and go, attack the rim right away, move the ball, or look for, if you got it open and you're within rhythm, shoot the ball, shoot it with confidence. I think it's a good thing for us.
You guys top free throw 10 players this year. Brad, Trez, Spence, they're all out of the picture now. Some of what happened lately, just kind of an adjustment you guys have to make to the personnel in that line.
No, to a certain extent. To your point, you don't have those guys that play in those certain areas. And Spencer was a downhill attack guy. Brad is obviously, going to have the ball in his hands and he's going to play in attack mode. We're constructed a little different, but it's also, you get in the paint, you have to finish through contact, or we have to kick out to the appropriate areas. We're playing in crowds, which once again leads to the turnovers. It's an other area that's been crushing us lately. I think it's averaging 17 turnovers the last 2 games for 24 points. And you gift your opponent 24 points, you're in for a rough night. That's an area, once again, that we can control to a certain extent. But, we're mindful of it. Guys have to understand how teams are guarding us, how to space, and when we do find ourselves with switches, we have to open up the floor to allow guys room to play.
I don't know how much play type tracking data should be taken as gospel, but according to Synergy, Porzingis averages more post-up plays per game. What will that change about your offense? Having him,
Oh, it's a good thing. And you post him because he can score, but you post to play make. I think that's just an opportunity that gives you a cog, and you can kind of play off of him, cutting, splitting. And it takes that his defender, he's got to honor him, because he can stretch the defense, and you'll see similar actions from the high post or the elbow. You can't sag and clog the thing up. When a guy like that has the ball, you have to guard him. So that should spatially give us room to cut and play behind it.
What would your observation?
I just think his versatility. He's a 6'10", point forward. He's got the ability to play off the bounce. He can play pick and roll. He attacks in the open floor. He's got the quickness and agility to beat his man off the bounce. So it's a nightmare if you want to play big because he can stretch the defense. He's shooting the three well. And if you play small, he oftentimes overpowers those smalls, whether on the drive or, on the glass. He's finding areas to have success with those smaller matchups.
If you want that plan for season 4, and move him to the 3, how many different sides of could Kyle?
I mean, it's tough to look around the league and see how other teams are going to match, but I still think he has the ability to do those things. Does that affect his efficiency? I don't think too much, but with the other guys on the floor, you add KP to the mix of any group, it changes the dynamic, and I think opens up a lot for everyone else.
So the post ups, it seems like you alluded to add some balance to the offense. Do you think it's something that maybe has been missing that will give you guys that can do other?
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, obviously, Trez was effective in that area. There's no question. I can't dispute that. But I do think it does give us a little bit more, parity, that we don't have to always play pick and roll to create advantage. Without Brad on the floor and Ish to a latter extent, they go where they want to go. But we don't have guys who can really break the defense down. Kyle does it, with his ability to play against bigs. But, we get a lot of catch and shoot, like to generate offense with our cutting. So to add that dimension, I think is a good thing to have.
Notice that I'm not sure our eye test meets what you see better is that when Denny has maybe some breakaways or a chance to get a strong just done, it's often as we think the points off the table. Is that something you and your coaches bring up?
Yeah, it's something team wide though. I mean, our overall finishing has to get better, and that's just it's a byproduct of concentration. Understanding how to play angles, play through contact. All those possessions that they matter. It's not just the breakaways, but anything around the paint, restricted area. We got to come away with 1, 2, or 3 points, and we are leaving a lot of points on the board. So it's a point of issue that we're working on and we're aware of. And we have to kind of get our guys back to just basic finishing. It doesn't have to be tricky or awkward, but we got to convert in those areas. I think it's a little bit of everything. Whether it's inexperience or he's playing through or trying to play for contact. But it's just a mindset of slowing down, concentration, being able to absorb it and finish at the rim.
All right, Coach, let's switch over to Zoom. We'll start with Chris Miller.
Appreciate it, Sandro. Hey, Wes, I got a 2-part question about Porzingis. One, is he still doing one-on-ones?
Yes, he is.
And I don't know if you've had this conversation with the medical staff, but just kind of looking at the calendar, is there a date where you guys would say, hey, maybe we just punt and we'll see you next year?
No, I mean, we're not there. If that's the case, I don't think the injury would warrant that. I'm not going to speak for the medical staff. We meet twice a day on it, to see where he is prior to workout or practice, reevaluate him afterwards. So it's ever evolving. You hope at some point you don't see the effects that they're concerned with, and we can kind of expedite the return. But until that point, we're going to treat it day to day and hope that he responds well.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Go to Neil.
Hey, Coach, just given that you guys might not have a lot of practice time where you are doing, contact 3-on-3, 5-on-5, do you think there's any chance that, KP could go get that work in with the go-go?
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, we'll pull those guys to play, whether it's 3-on-3 or, 5-on-5 if necessary. But, I think that's what the G League is there. It's available. We've talked about using them as a rehab tool as well. So it's not just for the development of our young players, but, to have them next door gives us, multiple uses, and they're there and available. By all means, we'll look at that.
And for Denny, he had, going back to pre-All-Star break, 6 games, double-digit scoring, and then, against Cleveland, wasn't able to get on the scoreboard. What did you see maybe that he wasn't able to get going as much on the offensive end against Cleveland?
Well, I think some of that was fatigue. you know, you got to understand too, a young player, he's logged probably more minutes, you know, than he's ever played, obviously in the NBA. And we're asking him to do a lot, you know, ask him to defend at a high level, rebound. He's been a playmaker for us. So he's not gonna score double digits every night. He's gonna have stretches like he's shown. He may go through some droughts, but you know, as long as he's playing the right way, I have no issue with that. That level of consistency it'll find its, you know, the happy medium. We all want him to have success and play at a high level. Not sure that's realistic for everybody. You know, we've seen everyone kind of go through lulls, and that's just the nature of the game. But you know, I want to still see him play with confidence, stay aggressive. And I think for the most part, he's done that. He had a rough night, as we all did, and you know, we were only able to muster up 80 some points as a group. So, you know, that's on the second night after scoring 153. So there's a balance in there somewhere.
Coach.
All right, coach, that's it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Since your two-handed putback play. Can you tell us about that play? What's the last time you did one of those in a game?
You know what? Honestly, all jokes aside, I've never done nothing like that again. I remember tip back dunk that I potentially thought I had was in high school. I could tell you the team was playing against a team called Mount Pleasant my junior year. Ball came off, I thought perfectly, and they called goaltend. So obviously it was not a putback dunk. But ball came off perfect. So I give credit to God for the blessing he gave me for my legs. I can't even I've never done nothing like that. So, you know, I would have taken a win over a putback dunk, but so it just came off like, I guess, perfect angle. I don't know. I don't know. I kind of surprised myself. I ain't gonna lie to you, because when I dunked it, I just was like, "Oh, do you jump off the rim real fast, or do you just hang here?" So just kind of in the moment.
So you've never done that in college?
No.
Any of your NBA seasons? In anything?
No.
Even in practice?
I've had dunks in practice, but not no putback dunks. Yeah. Like I've had dunks before. I think Josh was with me in Orlando when I had a dunk, but that was like, whew. I was like, what, 21, 22 years old, 23 years old? That was a long time ago. So, yeah, no, that was 10 years ago.
What was the feeling like after the last game?
Yeah, as you know, we got to start, closing out some of these games. But I'm a half glass kind of guy, and we're right there. It's little things that we can and we will fix. Defensively, I thought last game was really good. I kind of kicked myself a little bit because I think offensively, on some of those switches, I maybe could have attacked Jared Allen a little bit more instead of, settling for, tough shots over his size and him and marking his size. But for me, just trying to execute down the stretch, the right shots, ball movement, player movement, so we're not stagnant. And so that's something that I thought back because we played well enough defense to win the game. We really did. You hold a team to under 100 points in this league now these days. You can count it up as a win. We was up 9 several occasions going down the stretch. Just didn't pull it out. So, we got to execute down the stretch. San Antonio was a close one. Indiana was a close one. And last night against Cleveland, or 2 nights ago, one of them nights against Cleveland. So we got to execute, and I was in there at the end at the time, and I take it personal as a point guard to make the right play, make the right shots, get the ball in the hands, and get some type of movement. And I felt like I didn't do a great job of that.
You feel settled.
Yeah, I mean, I feel settled when I first came. Yes, sir. I feel settled, because it was a new place, not a new place. I'm sorry. It's a place that I've, been before. A lot of familiar faces, so it just felt like you're coming back home. I enjoyed my time in Charlotte. Been back home, a lot of guys throughout their career would love to play in their hometown. So I was blessed enough to, able to do that. A lot of friends and family was at games, but this feels like home. Just does. Been here 2 years. You probably can count one of the years a little extra because of the pandemic. We were just sitting in the houses and the bubble and the experiences we went through. So it felt like home when I got here. It really did. Like a lot of familiar faces. You see guys and all, so it was good.
What have you learned about getting settled in a new place when you haven't played there before? And is it sometimes harder with some teams and cities than with others?
Well, it's funny because as crazy as my career has been, it's actually settled down a whole lot over the last 6 years. So the first 6 years was a little crazy. And then was in Philly twice. But it settled down once I got to Detroit, 3 years, here 2 years, Charlotte, then back here. So it's kind of settled down. But then again, I still know those experiences to know when you're going from one place to another. So honestly, man, I try to, wherever your feet are, that's where you are. Like, and anytime I got traded and moved, I always just say my next move is the best move. Truly, truly, truly blessed my mother and father. So I wasn't never really tripping about it. Like I had strong faith in whatever the Lord has me, what direction I'm going, it's gonna work out. So, but it gets difficult when you go to a new place because you don't know a lot of the guys. You got to get familiarized with guys. But here, even the Coach West, I had Coach West in Orlando and Golden State. So the experiences of moving around a lot helped me in that case. So, again, it can be difficult if you're not used to it. But for me, I didn't have any kids at the time when I was moving a lot. Didn't have a wife at the time, so I'm okay. I was okay.
Seems like you have a pretty good connection with Daniel Gafford.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
Throw pretty accurate lobs with him. What's it like the sort of combination you guys created?
Yeah, you know what? We started building that combination last year. For me, as soon as I see two guys coming my way, and I know Gaff is coming on that weak side, and usually guys on that low it's usually a shorter guy trying to bump. They're not going. There's no way they're gonna have to hit him before he takes off. And so usually it's not a big guy. It's usually a guard just trying to bump on that low man. And so I'm like, you're not getting that. So I'm gonna throw it up, and then if a guy does bump, then you skip it to the corner. So I've connection and really started growing last year, and we just have continued it on. I've had great experiences with bigs who are lob catchers, and so Gav, he's special and he's athletic, and we have to continue to grow that connection. All of us, me, AG. Sometimes it's not live, sometimes it's pops. TB, KP when he gets back out there. So Vern, like you build those connections in practice and stuff like that, and so it just picked up, from last year playing with Gav.
Played against Kyle Cooper for some years now.
Yeah.
What you're seeing now with what he's doing, how does his game change for taking off?
Yeah, Kuz has always had game to me. I've always loved his game from afar. But now he's playing with confidence, playing with a level of freedom. But Kuz has never had fear. That's one thing I love about Kuz. And I can't speak for LeBron, but just watching him when he was with the Lakers, I think Bron really respected that. He never had fear, never shied back on taking a big shot, making the big plays. And so his game is just constantly expanding this year. It's growing. He's in a great rhythm right now. He's in a great flow. And, like I say, he's playing with a lot of confidence. And his game is growing. You can tell he's constantly working on his game, getting better in different things. And coaches giving him the freedom to kind of open a dynamic of his game that people probably didn't know, him handling the ball at the top and doing different things, playing in pick and roll. So he's really expanding his game, and I'm happy he's on our side.
Fans see anything. Always see someone from a distance, right?
Right.
See him and he's that big. What have you learned about him as a person?
Oh, he's cool. Down to earth. I don't know the persona that people have based upon just, I guess, the outfits. I don't know. Like I play with Russ. Russ is one of my best friends in the league. So the persona that, you put out and give out to people, especially the media, that's what they're going to portray, or to just everyday fans. But Kuz is like down to earth, joking, laughing, just like anybody, likes to have his piece. But at the same time, like, is outgoing and like me and him, I wish, obviously I wasn't here early in the year, but every day you just get to know guys, and our relationship is growing every day. And but he's just, down to earth, he cool, he jokes, he laughs. Like, I don't know the public perception, but I know he cool with me. He's cool with me, and he always has been. Just kind of as an opponent playing against him, Kuz has always came off as down to earth, cool dude, and like I said, I'm glad he's on our side now. Well, he's on my, I'm playing alongside with.
Mentioned you were with Wes earlier in your career, his career. What's it like seeing him as a head coach now, and like compare him now to back then?
Yeah, Wes, man. One thing I like, he doesn't know I watch him. Like, he still like rebounds. He still gets in the drills. He still has this hunger that he had when he was an assistant coach. Wes is super, super cerebral, and he doesn't just tell you things. He tells you, then he tells you why he's telling you. So he explains, what he's trying to do and what he's trying to get across. And I think for myself, I personally can speak, I appreciate that. I'm constantly picking his brain, trying to figure out what he sees, what he, doesn't want to, what he wants, what he doesn't want. But for the most part, he allows each guy to play. But nah, coach was always cool, man. He always brought this level of calmness to the game. Never got too high, never got too low. And as you know, as a head coach, that's huge. Because, if we see the head man, struggling and or up and down in his personality based upon how the flow of the game is going. Me personally won't go like that, but I'm sure everybody else will. And coach stays calm. Head coach looks good on coach, and I'm happy for him. I really am.
All right, Ish, let's switch over to Zoom for a few questions. We'll start with Neil.
Hey, Ish, I think in the past, we've asked you about starting versus, off the bench. I think last time you said, yeah, you're, very much comfortable off the bench. I guess, how do you feel now with this, new group of players that are, coming together? Do you still feel that, you're still at your best coming off the bench?
Yeah, no matter to me, just as long as I'm playing, I ain't tripping. You build rhythm and flow with each team, with each guy. Obviously I'm comfortable with guys that I played with last year. And then with Pope, I played with him in Detroit. Kuz, it's pretty easy to play with Kuz, man. He just flows and plays. So you figuring out each guy. CK, Corey's a special player, a special shooter. So you just figuring the guys out and different things like that. And whether you're starting or coming off the bench, you find that rhythm with the guys and the flow and where each guy wants the ball and how they prefer to play. Either way, ball movement, player movement is huge on the offensive end. And then defensively communicating and talking is huge. And that talking on the defensive end brings that connectivity. And then offensively, when you sharing that ball and you playing with some pace, everybody loves to play that way. You just, whether first or second, you just find that rhythm with the guys and you roll that way.
Thanks, Ish. I think the putback dunk was a little harder than the one you had last season against the Lakers on the outlet pass where you're all by yourself.
Yeah, no, that for sure was. I think I just surprised myself because I just came off injury and they threw it and I was like, man, maybe I should dunk this. But the putback honestly surprised me. The one that Russ threw, I knew I was gonna dunk that the whole time.
Thanks, Ish.
Yes, sir.
And we'll finish up with Christos. Christos, you there?
Christos, I think he might be on. He froze.
Looks like Christos is frozen.
Dang, Christos. I see you though. You got your hand over your mouth though.
You hear me now?
We got you, Christos. Yep.
Oh, you back?
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Some connected troubles. I'm sorry.
Nah, no worries.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, after the first two games of the second half of the season, what would you like to care about your game as a team?
What would I like to change for our team?
What would you like to maintain?
Oh, maintain since coming from All-Star break?
Yes.
Ooh, you know what? It's a lot of good things. First and foremost, we in stretches we like the San Antonio game. I thought in stretches we defended pretty well, but not overall. Cleveland, I thought throughout the game we defended, pretty well. Down the stretch, we could have done some, better, but for the most part, we defended well enough. So I think consistently defending at a high level and communicating at a high level, but just the pace and the flow and how everybody's kind of playing with confidence, shooting the ball with confidence. We're sharing the basketball, these last two games. So that's something that I've been proud of. But that's something that has to be a constant for us, constantly sharing, moving the basketball, playing with good pace, and then defensively being consistent in it. You have those games against Brooklyn when you play good defense, and then you have those games against Cleveland when you lock down and play good defense. But you can't have lulls like we did against San Antonio where we give up 157 points. You got to be consistent in it. And I think if we're consistent in it defensively, then we're going to give ourselves a chance to, get in the play-in. And that's the goal. And while you're developing and growing as a team. So, and the young guys developing and growing. So it's no better way to develop than to win and push and get in those playoffs. So you got something to build on.
Or in the game against the Cavaliers, the defense was there for you guys.
Yeah.
How important is to have the same stability on offense? What you need to do on offense to have?
Yeah,
be more
offensively.
stable?
Yeah, Christos, offensively, I when I look back at the tape, especially because we had a good rhythm going the last 3 or 4 minutes when coach put me back in, that's on me. I think maybe not play super fast, but play with a little bit more pace when we're getting the ball up the court. And we're playing out of open, which is our delay, some dribble handoffs, something to kind of get us flowing and moving. And then, somebody attacks or play out of a pick and roll. Cleveland's a good defensive team. They got a lot of bigs. And so when you have bigs, you got to move them around. And when you just come down and you try to ISO them, that's going to be difficult. That's difficult for any team, but that was difficult against obviously Cleveland, who's a really, really good defensive team. And so I kicked myself. I'm thinking back on just kind of moving the ball, sharing the ball, getting the ball from side to side, moving those bigs around the court, and then attack. And so that was something that I kind of took personal. Should have came up with some plays or something, to create or activate that. So that one was on me.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the patience one more time.
Man, I ain't tripping, man. You cool, man, with me.
Ish, we got one more question from inside the
Okay.
room.
Oh yeah.
So you want to become a head coach?
No. Nah. The coaching part is hard for me, man. Cause I can explain the game and I can describe the game to you. I can put you in the right place. And as a point guard, like I got the ball, so I can control the whole game. Like I tell you, go here, go there, all that stuff. Man, when you're a coach, it's like a parenting to me. Like you tell your children the things you're not supposed to do, but after that, as soon as they get out there in the world, you just gotta hope and pray that everything that you coached and taught to them, that they abide by those rules and different things like that. So, and I'm not a control freak at all. So I would just kind of let you play. Like I don't know if it opens up. I like the GM side, the putting the teams together and stuff like that. But man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm rolling and enjoying this ride. So I don't know, but if, you know, opportunity opens up. But right now, you asking me?
Oh, no,
Nah.
that's fine.
No. I'm saying like right now, like in the space. Nah. But I do like, you know, explaining the game and just kind of orchestrating, you know, things. And the game has slowed down a whole lot for me now that I'm older. I can still play fast, but still, you know where I want to go and put guys in spots and places. So it's easy when you got the basketball. It's hard when you got the clipboard. Yes, sir.